Good day, folks. In this lesson, we'll be creating some dialog boxes with an NPC. So let's get to it. So last one was a pretty tough lesson. This is pretty intense, but it's not as bad as the last one in my opinion. So let's start off. We're going to be creating a character named Jambi. Jambi, the sprites for Jambi is going to be in the characters folder, and there's Jambi. It's for me, it's already been sliced. Yeah, there you go. Pretty neat stuff. I get it set as a pixel per unit. 150 is the default setting for me. Yeah, so there we go. Let's also go, though, right now I'm sort of like in the UI section. Let's go ahead over to Ruby. So I just double-clicked on her just so it kind of brings me over to this area. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Jambi. I'm sorry, it's stupid. I don't care. I'm going to put Jambi like just chilling on this block right here. So the way we can do that is if we just click and then do a shift, press and hold shift on our keyboard, that's going to select all 3 frames of Jambi. And so we can... Sorry, we're gonna go ahead, click and drag it to the high. Actually, we can just put them right here. Okay, that's gonna create a new animation as well as a game object. Let's call it Jambi, and then put it in the animations folder. I'm sorry. There's Jambi right there, and then let's rename it to just Jambi instead of Jambi Idle. Okay. Oh, hey Jambi. We're going to then go ahead and create a box collider for Mr. Jambi. All right, let me just move this up here a second. And let's edit this box collider so it's just at the bottom. And Jambi's not going to move. Okay. All right. And then we're going to create a new layer called NPC. Let's go back to Jambi and set Jambi to that layer. Cool. So when you play this, you're going to note Jambi's animations move too quickly. So let's just move that. We see there like Jambi is doing way too much right there. You see he is like not having a good time. So let's go ahead and make some adjustments to the sample rate. So we got Jambi selected. Let's go ahead to Window and then Animation. It's going to bring up this. The sample size, I've played around with this. I've tried 5. I find 3 to be kind of like what I like. So where it says samples, I set it to 3. And now if we go to preview, we can kind of go like that. You see, why didn't it go? There we go. Click off. Now let's preview again. There we go. I think he's pretty good now. I like Jambi. I am a chill Jambi person. Call me crazy, but I like my Jambi kind of just hanging out like that. Okay, so we have created a game object. We've animated it. It's just going to be on that idle loop where those 3 frames of animation will just be playing. Okay, so now something exciting. We're going to be doing what's called ray casting. So ray casting, if we think of the rays of a sun, like that stylized representation of what the sun looks like when you're in, elementary school. You have a circle, and then you've got these like little lines coming off of it, and it's like those are the rays. Okay, so the rays of the sun. Ray casting is, if we think of it like almost rays can be emitted from a object, and if the rays and the rays are then specified to go a certain distance. If the rays hit something else, you can make something happen. We are going to be setting up so that when we press a button, Ruby is going to emit a ray. Okay, she's going to emit a ray, and if the ray she emits or casts hits something, we're going to have something happen. So let's go ahead to our Ruby controller script. Ooh, nice. So let's go to our scripts, go to our Ruby controller, and we're going to be going right below the section related to like where we had in the update functions. So let's go ahead. No, don't want you right now. All right, update function. there we go. So I'm going to put it right below. See, there's the update function. For me, it's on line 36. I'm going to set it so like right below the C key. Okay. So, and I'm going to grab this from the text instructions. Okay, so I just pasted that in. So this is pretty simple. If key presses X. Now this is where things get a little bit interesting. Okay, so if we press the X button, we're going to have a variable of the type raycast hit 2D. And in the text instructions, there's different type of raycasts. The different types of raycasts will accept different parameters. So your raycast can basically handle different types of information. In this case, it's going to take 4 arguments or 4 parameters. So we have here the type of physics 2D dot raycast. And so it's going to take the position of rigid body 2D, and it's going to be set so that if, so this is going to be Ruby's position. It's going to be basically casting a ray up, basically so that we would want to make sure that Ruby is facing the object we want her to interact with, okay? And then we only want it to be able to interact with with things on the NPC layer. So if we try to talk to the broken robot or the damage areas and that kind of stuff, it's not going to be part of that NPC mask. So instead, it's going to, this if statement won't be true. The 1.5f is going to just be the units, like this is how far we want the ray to be emitted. So you have to be kind of close so that you wouldn't be like across the screen to basically hit that. So. All right, so that is pretty good. And now let's go ahead and save this, make sure it works. Oh, and then, sorry, this other if statement. If it's not null, so basically if it hits something in the debugger. So let's go ahead to Unity, let that import, and then test this out. And we'll talk to our buddy, old Jambi. Okay. Jambi, how you doing? Let's see. Got it playing. Ooh, that UI feels big. I might have to reduce that. So we're going to press, is it X? Yes. So you see here, raycast has hit the object Jambi. I knew I could count on you, Jambi. Okay, so we are now going to create a dialog box so that whenever we are able to, talk to Jambi, whenever our raycast hits Jambi, we're going to do something. So let's go ahead and right-click. We're going to go ahead to create a canvas, okay? So we right-click, we go to UI, and then canvas. Now this is going to be, we don't want this gigantic canvas as we did last time with our health UI. This is going to be different, okay? We are going to basically set our render mode to world space. So we want this in the kind of world, like in the level, okay? And we're going to go ahead and with the canvas, we're going to just basically set it up so that it's very small. So it's basically the canvas is a tiny box right above Jambi. Okay. So the position, let's just go ahead with our position is going to be 0, 0. And then the width, we're going to set to 300 by 200. And then the scale, we're going to set to 0.01 for, yes, I did. We're going to set 0.01 for X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now that basically sets it up. So this is, if we look here, there's our canvas now. We're going to just move this. Just go ahead up here a second. We're going to move this so that, I'm just going to select our move tool, just put it like right above Jambi. Okay, so that when we interact with Jambi, that's what's going to occur. Okay, so there's the canvas. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we are going to create a an image that's going to be a child of the of that canvas we just created. So we go ahead here, go to UI, we say image, and the image we're going to do is, if we go to UI, which is going to be UI dialog, and the source image is going to be right there. Okay. We're going to go to our anchor as well as like our sort of stretch situation. We're going to press and hold Alt again. Okay. And then we're going to anchor it as well. No, we're going to keep it as is. Yeah, we're going to keep it as is. Okay, so that fills that. That's good. Okay. And then we're going to also set the render for the canvas to be as far as our, no, it's going to be with the canvas. The order and layer, we're going to set to 10. Okay. That's because the world space kind of has some situations where if we would have other objects, we have to kind of keep the order in which the other objects are being drawn. We have to kind of keep track of that kind of stuff. So we're going to set it to 10. It's a very high number, so that'll make it so that like nothing else will be drawn above it. Okay? Okay. So next thing, we're going to go ahead and right-click on the image for the game object. Go to UI, and we're going to say Text Mesh Pro. It's going to bring up a dialog box that says, do you want to do this? Do you want to import this? Yes. It's going to take a little bit to import. There we go. We can close that out now. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to just adjust this text box. Or actually, no, we're going to fill this. Let's go here to this guy, press our Alt button again, fill it, and then we're going to set it so that the text, this yellow box, is right inside kind of the frame, and those are going to be what we'll set it as like kind of our valid areas for the text to be drawn. Should be good. There, that looks pretty good. Okay. Now, in the inspector, we can put whatever text we want. So I'm going to say, my dudes, you gotta fix those robots. Okay, whatever. There's no right answer to what you want Jambi to say. You could play around with some of the font types and all that kind of stuff, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go now and do some scripting. Cool. All right, so we need to set up some scripts so that this text will appear and then disappear from our screens when we have a conversation with our good friend Jambi. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide this canvas for now. So where it says canvas, let's hide that. Let's disable it for now. Okay, see how it's just disappearing? Okay, and now let's go ahead and create a new script. Let's go here to create C# script in our scripts folder. We're going to call this non-player character. Okay, let's open it up. Oh, we got to add this to Jambi as well. So let's actually go back to Unity quick. All right, non-player script. Let's add that to our good friend Jambi. And now let's go ahead here. Non-player character script. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and create some variables. So let's go ahead just below the class declaration and add these three variable declarations. So display time, as it sort of is implied intuitively, is going to be how long we want the dialogue to stay up. Game object is going to be the dialog box, which will be like the game object that we've already created. Since it's public, this will be something we just have to drag into, like when it comes to the Unity editor, like the thing we just finished creating is what will go there. And then timer display is going to be a variable that will be related to the display time. Okay. So in our start, we're going to set up two things. In start, we're going to set it up so that the initially set active, so dialog box is this guy right here. That's going to be, we don't want the dialog box to come up when the game starts. We only want it to come up when we interact with Jambi. So that is going to be set to false. Timer display is going to be set to -1. Okay. Now, let's go ahead to update function and add some cool stuff. So in our update function, we're going to say if the timer display is greater than 0, then go ahead and just do a countdown. So this is related to, we use that delta time. This is to basically count down when it came to Ruby's invincibility. We basically would set it up so that when the user interacts with it, and makes it appear, we'll have it so that the dialog box comes up, but then if the timer display is going to basically count down with that time.delta time. Okay, and then if the timer display is less than 0, set the set active to false. So basically, have the timer come up, count down. After the countdown gets to below 0, then go ahead and hide that dialog box again. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and create something with our a display dialog. Okay, so this will be a function we're going to create here. So let's make sure. Ooh, I don't know. Ooh, brackets still. Yeah, that update is fine. Okay, so this will be outside of update before the last bracket. Okay, public void display dialog. Public, available to other classes and programs running in our game. We then set timer display to equal to display time, which we had set up here. That's going to be so for 4 seconds. Set dialog box to true. So basically, if someone calls the display dialog function, in this case it's going to be Ruby. Ruby is going to be able to call this function, and when she does that, we're going to set the display time to 4, and then we're also going to show. The way that we get it to go away is on the update function, it's going to be called once per frame. It's going to count down from that number. Okay, so let's save that. Now let's go ahead to our Ruby controller. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do in the Ruby script is we're going to be working with calling that function that we had just created for the within the non-player character script. So this would be the display dialog thing. I'm going to work with the at the very sort of bottom section of the text instructions. It's going to be the whole thing with the if input key down is X. So it's going to be the text instructions will be right here. Okay. So I'm just going to copy that whole section here, and then we'll just make sure that we understand the whole thing. So I'm just going to paste that over. Okay. So if input dot get down key code is X, we're going to go ahead, raycast, and we sort of already checked this out. And then if it's not null, we'll then define the variable character as whatever we hit. And then we're going to call the display dialog function for that character. So let's save that. And then let's go ahead to Unity, load that new code. Okay, cool. So let's make sure with Jambi, we've got, as far as our dialog box, we need to go ahead and set this to the, is it the canvas or the image? I don't remember, so I'm going to try, let's do the canvas. Oops. All right, let's do, with Jambi, let's set it so that it's with the canvas. I think that's it. Let's try it out. Very good. Very, very good. So, pretty difficult lesson, but yeah, I think we only got like 1 or 2 left. All right, folks, I wish you the best of luck. Great stuff.